Good evening. Welcome to PoliticIt podcast. We've got Paul Miller here tonight, candidate for CD1.
Yeah.
And the winner of the
GOP convention.
Yeah, the convention, first place, right?
Yeah.
Both made it out, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible. Way to go.
Yeah, there's a lot to do about the correct title, and like, no, you're not the winner, and it's like, I am the winner. I consider myself the winner because I got the most percentage, but I'm not the nominee because I didn't get 60%.
Yeah, you have to get over 60% to be the official nominee, right?
Yeah.
But I noticed on all of the information the GOP sends out, you're there.
Yeah, I am, and I love our caucus system, convention system. I think it's the best.
Yeah, well, it's nice to have people that are dedicated to just vetting the candidates, and they gave you a chance, right? They listened to you. That's kind of great to be able to give your message out, right? Without a lot of money.
Yeah, and that's what I love about it. Like, it gets the grassroots candidates out, and it gives, the everyday average Joe like myself a chance. And, and these are, highly informed voters, the media gives the convention system a bad rap, but like these are people, like everybody in the neighborhood votes for the one or it's three people, in my precinct,
right,
that go to convention, and these guys put in a lot of time, a lot of their own money for gas and meals and stuff, at convention. And so, yeah, it's a serious thing, and people take it seriously.
So how does someone like you, that doesn't have a lot of money, that just enters into this process, shows up all the time, right? I don't recall a single meet and greet where I didn't see you there.
Yeah. I try to show up to every event. If somebody lets me know of an event, I'll be there. And if people want to call me, I'll talk to you on the phone. Yeah, I have no problems with that. But yeah, it was a lot of it was a grassroots push, because it's these groups like, Davis County Conservatives, Weber County Conservatives, even the Cache County Conservatives, these individual groups where people invest their time into, bills that are being pushed in the state legislature and in Congress. And so, like, yeah, and they get to know you, and they get to know what you're for and what you're against. And so it's really a positive system that they have.
Well, I tuned into the debate the other night.
Yeah.
What was that like? I mean, that's the first time you've ever done something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it was, and it was funny because the guy that I brought with me, he was having a hoot, and he loved it, and I was like, yeah, that's because you're not in front of the camera and answering all the questions. But yeah, it is very nerve-wracking, and I wish I could have articulated responses better, but yeah, it was fun, and I miscommunicated some bill titles, and Blake corrected me on those, and so, but yeah, it was fun, and I was able to ask some serious questions that constituents have asked of Blake, and Blake didn't want to answer some of them, and so it was interesting.
So what were the things that you've been hearing from constituents that are, and the reason why they're interested in you? What are the issues that come up all the time?
Yeah, what they really love about me is that I am the average Joe. I'm just a common man looking to change the country for the better, and to represent.
Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
It is, yes, exactly. I've heard that. I still need to watch that movie.
Yeah,
but yeah, and so it's that organic approach to politics, and so whereas my opponent is was funded by his father-in-law, and so there's I like to think that there's like that self-enrichment or family enrichment ties there, and so which I think we need to get out of Washington D.C. But and so that's what people like about me. It's more organic and more of a hometown
So what are these kitchen table issues that people are concerned about? I mean, you've been to every event, you've answered tons of questions. What are the things that people throw at you?
Yeah, I think the most serious issue right now is the threat on our border, because we have, Venezuela emptying their prisons and letting them out on our border. We have China, these Chinese military-aged men that are all dressed the same. They have the same shoes. They have, all their appearance is all the same, and they're being dropped off at our southern border, and so. I think it was KSL just put out a bunch of numbers, with all of these criminals that have entered. There was like 600 that were on the terror watch list, and then there was thousands of them that would have been kicked out had we vetted them appropriately. And so that's a real serious concern right now. And then another concern is our debt, which is the issue that I focus on the most, mainly because me and Blake have the same issue on the southern border. But
you look at that the same way.
Yeah, we both want, remain in Mexico, to finish the border wall and to end catch and release. And so I disagree with spending and leveraging spending. He talks about leveraging spending, but they don't leverage the power of the purse enough in the House, and so they need to do that. They need to do a better job at that, to get these conservative policies through, and not only Biden's agenda. And so and I wish I could have articulated that better in the debate, but it is what it is. But other than that, I don't know, what other issues do you think?
Well, yeah, I'm just thinking about what mom and pop sitting at home are concerned about, and those two I'm certain are up at the top of the list.
Yeah, and I know schools are a really big hot button issue right now, and I want the federal government out of schools, and I want schools is more of a state issue. I know there's a huge concern about the left-wing agenda being pushed in schools, and how we need to get away from that.
Yeah, I've always felt like Joe Biden and the Democrats have gone so far left, they've left our kids, they've left our families, and quite frankly, I think they've left sanity.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Some of the stuff, we had a rally down at the Capitol yesterday with a bus that came in to protect Title IX, women's sports, and, they had some pretty incredible women that came in to talk about the issues that are coming up, and how this change to Title IX is really going to affect women's sports. It's going to, I'm afraid to see the end of it, really, because women's sports are actually starting to take off. You look at basketball with Caitlin,
Caitlin Clark, she's very hot and goes viral in a lot of her moments, and she's actually contributed to a lot of success in the WNBA. Yeah, and so which is great.
It's great to see. She's kind of the Michael Jordan now of the WNBA, I guess, and it's good to see that attention.
Yeah, I don't think she has the skill, right. There's not that skill difference between her and other women, but she's very popular, and I know she's brought in a lot of revenue ever since she's been drafted into the WNBA. Yeah, and so I don't care about skin color. I just think it's awesome that women's sports are gaining notoriety by themselves. Yeah, because a lot of that. The women's sports push is, funded and monetized by, the men's sports. Right. And so, but yeah, and we're hockey people at our house. And so I watch, women's hockey, when the Olympics come, or when the Olympics are going, I always watch the women's hockey. I love it, even though they don't check, but that's okay. Yeah. The strategy is there. And so it's fun.
Well, we're going to take a break, and we'll come right back.
Okay. If you're watching this video, your ballot is probably in your mailbox or on your kitchen table. Grab that ballot and vote for America and Paul Miller for Congressional District 1. You'll be glad you did.
Welcome back to PoliticIt. Paul Miller's with us. Paul, candidate for CD1.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah. So you were in a debate.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you a few questions that came up there. I mean, one of the questions on, in training in Hill Air Force Base, what you've had a little bit of time to think about that. What are some of the things you wish you would have said?
Yeah, that was not in my debate prep, that's for sure. That question sprung up on me, and I had to hurry and figure out an answer. But yeah, so now that I've come to think of it, there are programs, that Weber State works really closely with Hill Air Force Base, and I know that Utah State has space dynamics. Which I did touch on in the debate, not space dynamics, but Utah State. And, and space dynamics is really big in R&D and government tech and stuff like that. And so yeah, just like Blake Moore was saying with the Sentinel missile program, these are jobs that are needed, at Hill Air Force Base and with Northrop Grumman and their facilities. And so, So as a congressman, you can help align and get these public-private partnerships with these universities and get people into those programs, which universities need to do. They need.
Yeah, it's nice to have programs within the university where they're really trying to meet workforce needs.
Yeah. So there's job placement in it, which ever since the federal government got involved in student loans, they're handing out student loans left and right, and then there's no job placement for it afterwards.
Our tech schools here have done a really good job with that too, don't you think?
Yeah.
Davis Tech has a lot of really programs that are really centered on the needs of local businesses and government, right?
Yeah, and Governor Cox has talked about internships and apprenticeships, and how we need to just get experience in the workforce. And because at these, I don't like to talk badly on universities. There's a spot for universities in society. And I know you're a professor, right?
Yeah. I'm retired now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I can talk badly on them.
Well,
no,
I've gone after universities enough that people wouldn't be surprised at anything I said about it.
Yeah.
Right?
No, and so no, I'm not really talking badly on them.
Right.
But in these universities, there's a lot of extra programs and extra classes that they make people take for their degrees. I know when my wife went for nursing, there was all sorts of chemistry and physics and stuff, and I don't know why you need physics for nursing, and so there was a lot of extra classes that she needed that weren't necessary.
That's where I think the tech schools locally have done a really good job in basically preparing people to enter the workforce.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, and it's very cheap. You can just like in the old. Well, I shouldn't say the olden days, but
well, my son, for instance, he has a degree in information systems, but found out about a lot of the neat things they're doing at Davis Tech with respect to cyber security and getting certificates to qualify you for certain jobs, and he decided, hey, I'm going to go take advantage of these job training programs that they have, and he's really done well with it.
And that's awesome that they have that program at the DATC. But yeah, and I was going to say, just like when my wife's aunt went to college, back in the 90s, it was $500 for a semester. So you could pay off your college tuition while you're going to school.
Right.
And now you can't do that. Now you have to have a student loan.
Yeah.
And that's where, I love these tech schools, and I'm a big fan of tech schools because, that's where I went.
So you're an electrician, right?
Yeah.
And so did you go through one of the tech schools to get your cert?
Yeah, and we touched upon this in the previous one, but I went to the DATC for 4 years, and and it was fun.
Yeah, yeah. I think those kinds of things are really good to train people to go into the workforce, right?
Yeah.
And everybody doesn't have to go to college. I mean, I was a university professor, but I think people need to do what's best for them.
Yeah, exactly. And it provides a low cost option for families, especially ones that already have kids and are tight on the budget. You get that certificate, and it gets you a good career.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are really a lot of good careers that people can go into.
Yes, definitely.
So what were some of the other things that come up in the debate that you wish you had done differently?
Yeah. I ran out of time on the abortion question. So they talked about a 13 to 15 week ban on abortion, which I would vote against it because I like I said, I think it's a state issue. If there's
not an enumerated power of the federal government.
Yeah, it's not. And so, but if there was a bit like a national abortion ban, then I would vote for it only because of the similarities between that and the Emancipation Proclamation, which ended slavery. Yeah,
if you look at the bill, if you look at this whole concept of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right?
Yeah, well, and
those are God-given rights that we have, and government's instituted among men to protect our natural rights.
Yeah, and not only that, but like the beginning paragraph of the Constitution talks about protecting our liberties for us and our posterity.
Right.
So what is our posterity? Well, that's our offspring. That's a synonym of posterity. And so, and another synonym for offspring is baby.
Right.
And so, yeah, we need to protect babies. We need to protect our liberties. And so, yeah, and with a national abortion ban, I do want to say that like I am for the 3 exceptions. Of rape, incest, and especially the risk of the mother's life being in danger. So, I do believe in those 3 exceptions.
So what's your big plans now? I mean, the 25th coming up pretty soon, isn't it?
Yeah, we're only 9 days away, I think, today. And so, yeah, it's coming up quick. And so, yeah, we got some honkin' waves planned. We got an event tomorrow night at Cache Valley.
What are you doing in Cache Valley?
It's the Cache Valley Republican Party. They're putting on an event, and they got a music artist coming.
Oh,
and so that'll be fun. And but yeah, I love going up to Cache Valley, and yeah, Cache Valley and Box Elder. They love me, and so I think it's because they're more of the working class. They love the common man. Going and making a change, and so yeah, and so. And that's kind of like the community that I fit into.
You seem to do very well with individuals, talking to individuals about their needs and letting them know that somebody actually cares about. You use this phrase, the common man, right?
Yeah, and I think that's what it's going to take, to change the culture in Washington D.C. Because we have all of these well-connected people, and it's all about the fundraising and all about the donor dollars, and so I'm not there for a paycheck. Yes, I'll get a pay raise if I'm elected, but that's not what I'm going for. It's not worth the threats to my family. It's not worth the hassle of flying back and forth to Washington D.C., missing my kids' hockey practice and games and stuff like that. And so that's not why I'm doing it. I'm trying to make a sacrifice for our country, and so I'm not there for the paycheck.
Right. Very good. Well, we're out of time.
Yeah.
Why don't you make a final pitch to voters?
So I'm Paul Miller. I'm running for Congressional District 1 in Utah, and if you're sick of the federal government spending our tax dollars in absurd ways and funding foreign aid and foreign assistance all over the world and borrowing money from China to do it, then join me in my fight to run for Congress. And I also want you to ask yourself, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago before Blake was in office? But I would hope that you would join me and support me. The primary is on June 25th, and I would appreciate your vote.
Paul Miller, thank you. I appreciate you coming in, and make sure you guys go vote.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah.